Welcome back to the vlog, everybody. I need you to do something before we move any further. Rate the fit. Is it a good dad fit? You know, because that's the season I'm trying to be in right now. Just a dad. You know, is this giving dad vibes? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, today I have a special treat for you guys. I'm gonna take you and show you my worship keys setup. Let's go. Psych, actually we're making coffee first. You know, I gotta have me some coffee. So my current coffee obsession is brown sugar and wait for it. Salt. Listen, if you are a coffee connoisseur like me, and I know some of you are, some of you have told me like, Seth, I love coffee too. Do yourself a favor and put a pinch of salt in your coffee. It just changes everything. The difference that just a little bit of salt makes in coffee is truly astounding. Anyway, I found this recipe at a local coffee shop and they called it the Charlie Brown, and it's just brown sugar and salt, espresso and milk. It is fire. Your little mix. I know it probably sounds so silly, but coffee brings so much joy to my day. I just love coffee. You guys got to try that. That is so good. If you don't make your own coffee, you can literally go to a Starbucks and order like the brown sugar shaken espresso and ask for a packet of sea salt and then just sprinkle. You don't want the whole packet, just, I'm telling you. So back to the purpose of this video. We are in the sanctuary on the stage. Right here is the key setup. So I'm gonna walk you through what I'm using when I play keys, kind of how I have everything set up, and just give you a breakdown of what everything does and how I have it set up. I am playing on the Yamaha Montage 8, which means it is an 88 key full length keyboard. This keyboard is my #1 keyboard for playing if I'm going to just have this. There's other great keyboards out there, but this has so much flexibility for just piano while needing to pull in other sounds, and it is just fantastic. I love it. So one of my favorite things about this right here is the performance register, and I can pop this and it pulls in my regularly used sounds right here. So these two right here are probably my #1 and 2 sounds that I use. The first 2 sounds are an acoustic piano, and this is just the sound right out of the box when I press that button. It's just got great sound. It's just a nice soft piano sound, and basically what I'm doing is layering 2 pianos. I will put the names of those on the screen right here. That is 1 and 2, and then you can see by my volume controls kind of where I have those layered. The very next one over is electric piano sound. And the thing I love about the Montage is you use these faders right here to control these, so I can quickly pull those sounds down and push up my electric piano. I use this sound a lot for like when we're shifting from worship to the speaker leading the service. I'm just gonna push this in, and actually these two, which are pads, you can see right here, it just adds a nice warm pad sound in the house while the speaker is, you know, going through prayer requests, any sort of things, announcements. It's just nice to have that soft behind them while the preacher's reading his scripture before his message. All of that, I use this sound right here. The very next one up is this one, and it is a pad as well, but it's a bright pad, where these are warm pads. This is a bright pad, and it has this sparkle sound in it. I'll let you hear. I really like this sound to add into softer songs that just need some sparkle. It's subtle, but it adds this nice little, and I usually don't even do it at full volume like that, and I only have it programmed on like the top bit of the keys because I don't want a low rumble on that. Basically my idea here is that it adds, like in a moment of just like soft pads and keys, it adds just this little sparkle, I guess. It's just like panned, and so when you have in-ears in or you're listening online, it's just like a, and it's really nice. It just adds a subtle effect. It's a really cool sound, but it can be distracting, so I use it very low in my mix. The last one that I have on this is a percussion bell, and what this lets me do, and I just have it programmed on these keys up here, but it's this sound. So I would use this like if we're doing a song and it has some sort of repeating melody line that the keys play, like, I'm trying to think, I wouldn't use this patch on the song Great Jehovah, but I'm using it as an example, the little da-na, da-na, something like that, like where I would be repeatedly playing that on those high keys in an octave. I'll pull that bell in and it just makes that little sound pop, basically. Set the stage. To make that pop, I could push that bell in and a little bit of that sparkle pad, and it would sound more like this. It can really make sounds pop if you don't have an aux keys player or you're not playing with stems. We do play with stems 90% of the time, and I'll show you that setup in a minute, but mostly I try to keep stems as a background thing and let our band shine. They're there to assist, and honestly, if you watch our live stream ever, you'll hear them a lot more in the live stream than you do in our actual service. A live stream mix can sound really dead, whereas a room this big is gonna sound fantastic. Even with a 4-piece band, you don't need tons in the room. Acoustic sound, vocals, sounds fantastic. Where stems even began being introduced to churches was to boost their live stream sound and presence, because in a live room, it'll sound killer. If you notice this, if you're ever in church and you're like, wow, we sound amazing, then you go back and watch your live stream and you're like, we sound like crap, that's why. You're losing a lot of the room ambience, all these different things. So we use a lot to help supplement and just boost our sound a little bit in the house, but I don't ever want it to sound like there's so much, like if for some reason the stem shut off, I don't want it to be so noticeable that people were like, well, now we can't have church. You know what I mean? So it's like a subtle thing that helps boost and add to an extra sparkle, an extra kick, but it doesn't take over, if that makes sense. So that's kind of my worship sound. And then my second main sound, this setting right here called Churchy. And it is pretty simple, actually. It is a piano, it is an FM piano, and it is a brass synth. So I'll show you each of the sounds individually. Here's the piano. It's just a simple, I believe, pop piano. I have this piano right here. This is the FM piano layered in about 3/4 of the way up. And then lastly, I have this brass synth, which just sounds like this. Okay, and I have that also about right there. So this is kind of what that setup looks like. I like this one as well because the brass synth works with my wheel down here. So imagine we're doing something churchy. It really lets me put that funk on it, and it just sounds great as for most upbeat churchy songs. So those are my two main ones. Then outside of that, I have other specific song patches that I've built to sound good on specific songs, and I've just named them the name of the song, and I will pull them out occasionally if we do those songs. But generally, those are my two sounds that I use the most, and I love this keyboard. I've had it for 6-7 years now, maybe, and it is just wonderful. By far, it's my favorite full piano workstation that I've ever played with. Moving on to my controllers right here. So right here we have an iPad stand because I will attach my iPad in here to run sound from my ears while I'm playing. However, we also have this, which was what most musicians would play if they sit here. Sometimes I use it, sometimes, plugging in. Sometimes I use my wireless pack right here. By the way, I use the Sennheiser G4 in-ear system. Love it. Highly recommend it. Here I have the Akai Professional MPD 218. I love this little guy. It is fantastic. This lets me set different things. So the blank ones, I'm kind of flexible on. So like say I want to repeat a part in a specific song, I may use these for that. Or if I have 3 songs, I'll trigger each song on these 3 pads, like song 1, song 2, song 3. That takes me to the songs directly once I build my set list. But I have some specific set things here, like loop only. Say we're in a song and the spirit starts moving and I'm like, I want to get off the grid really quickly. I can press this button and I have it programmed to go. It solos the loop and the click only in our ears. So it kind of takes away all that extra background stuff. That way we don't get off track, or say we do get off track. That's something that can commonly happen while using stems. You miss the tiniest cue, the drummer fumbles on a beat, kind of throws everybody off. It can definitely happen. This lets me go loop only immediately, and we still have our loop, and that's keeping us like on our tempo, but we're not worried about the track anymore. Lots of different reasons I might use this button, but it's fantastic. Another button that I have programmed, it just says Vox on and off. We do use vocal stems from time to time. Again, I use these as supplements, and I use them also as a confidence booster for my vocalists. So sometimes I'll have people who are not 100% confident in their part, and I may not have someone to schedule for that service who is confident in their part. So what I can do is send vocals to their ear. Like the soprano might get a soprano stem in their ear and they can hear it. It'll keep them on their part way better, and they feel more confident because they just have that vocal stem in their ear. They sing more confidently. We use that quite a bit actually. In the house, minuscule. Like if we stopped singing, you really wouldn't hear it. Again, this is something we use to boost our sound in our live stream. A lot of people tell me that our vocals sound good. These are secrets behind the scenes, things that I do to help our vocals sound good. And if you're using an in-ear system, these are things that you could do to help boost it. Outside of that, I have a few other things that I have set. A shout trigger, this is where I would set up like a shout loop quickly. You never know in an apostolic church when it's gonna go from anything to you need to shout. So I have this shout trigger, and it's just really quickly repeat a section. This turns on the, right here, you'll see it turn on and off. That just will repeat the section that I have set up to loop. And then I have a couple triggers right here. We have a riser, which is like a sound, a big sub drop, and a small sub drop. Again, this is on that bottom layer where the shout triggers are, because these are sounds that I use when we're, you know, praise breaking and driving, and we're like, da, 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 da. I'll hit that riser, and it's just like, and it's like taking off. Get that sub drop that's like, or whatever. We have fun with those. They're fun to throw in there from time to time. My next one over here is my newest that I've added to this. It's a Nano Control 2 from Korg. It is probably one of my favorite things, and I'm just getting it set up kind of the way I want to use it. And the way I use this is I have all of the stems that we do use right here. So click, band guide, vocal guide. Let me put you onto this. You can custom create guides inside your tracks. And if you have enough space on your board, obviously, you can create 2 separate guides, which I do. One for vocals, one for band. A lot of pre-programmed guides that you get like straight out of the package with stems come with all of these band cues and not vocal cues, or not vocal friendly cues. Some of them you just get your generic like chorus, verse, whatever, and that's fine. But sometimes there's really weird things for vocals that it's hard for the vocals to remember. There's some songs that literally it's like unison, parts, flip, hold, like this time don't say this one word. Like there's some crazy stuff out there, and I find the more direction I can give my team, the better they perform. The point of a guide there is to just, it almost like I don't even recognize it anymore. Like it's just in the background. But on a new song that I'm not super familiar with, I love having it, especially when it lets me know like, hey, we're going into this section, and the first time it's the solo, I drop that in there, and it just says like solo. And then BGVs know, they don't have to wonder like, are we coming in right here? And then it'll say all in unison or all in parts. But the band don't hear that because I have them separated. So the band's hearing things over here like drums in, bass in, guitar in, keys in, whatever, break, cut, hold, all these things, hit, kicks. They're hearing all these things. Vocals never hear that. And vocals are hearing specific things that the band never hears. It helps so much keep everyone on track. And you might say it makes lazy musicians or lazy singers. You could argue that. And maybe it does for some, but I do find that you need to serve your church the best way you can. And this is the way I serve my church the best. It helps us. It helps us be on that next level. For a professional musician, personally, I wouldn't use them. I dial in, I know my stuff backwards and forwards. But when you work in a church, you're not working with professional musicians or professional singers. Usually you're working with your local people who are just willing to serve. And I don't think it is cheaping out or making lazy servers when you do things like that. I think you are serving your people the best way you can. And it's proven here to be extremely helpful. So that was a side caveat. Let's keep going. Basically what I can do here is I can control all of those things quickly right here. So say my sopranos are a little weak tonight, I can boost sopranos right here, but keep altos and tenors lower. This last fader is for when I don't have separated. This is just BGVs, I just don't have a label on there, but these all correspond over here. So I'm going to wiggle these volume controls and you will see them kind of move right here. They're really tiny, but you can see them right there, okay? So that allows me to control those right here, because imagine trying to play in a service and trying to reach over and tinily change something. Now it's much easier to just, you know, have a little volume control. The last thing is this Alesis Q Mini. I'll be honest, I don't use this a ton. The reason I originally got this was I did not have a bass player, and mostly I just used tracks, which is cool. And the beauty of tracks is, for example, we don't have an aux player right now, so aux or organ. So aux and organ come from tracks for us. But I got a bass player, but before I had a bass player, I would literally play bass on this mini little keyboard during like altar and moments where we really needed bass. I just had MIDI bass ran into it, and it's ran through Ableton, and I would just play bass on it. I'm trying to come up with a better way to use it, honestly. Technically, I guess I'm not really using it. Every once in a while I'll program a little synth to it and play like little synth lines on it. But there's probably a much better use for it. Next up, we do have two mics here. Sometimes the person who sits here sings. Occasionally, I need the keys player to sing BGVs, and that is what this stand is for. This stand is a talkback, and you'll see bass has a talkback, the drums is tucked down in there, and guitars, there's two guitar players who sit here, they have a talkback between them. If you don't have a talkback system for your band, I highly encourage you to get one. It is the best way to communicate as a band. These guys have a on-off switch on theirs because I don't want it just sitting there collecting loud noise in the ear. They turn it on when they need to say something, and then they keep it off. Mine is always on as the director because I can communicate to them. Then if they need something, they can quickly hop in and be like, whoa, you know, what's happening? It's just so valuable. I can't even explain how valuable it is for everyone to have a talkback. If you're worried about the equipment that it takes to get that started, literally, I have mine ran on this tiny mixer. And listen guys, I do not have enough inputs to have each person a talkback, but I have this tiny mixer. It takes 4 inputs. I have these 4 mics ran in to these inputs, and then it comes out of this into the board as one talkback channel for the band. It just says stage talkback, and they're all ran through one channel. I can control the individual volumes up here, but this is like a little cheat way. We just have this tiny little individual mixer sitting around. We used to mix like someone's in-ears on it, and it was just not being used. Things like that. Sometimes there's old tech laying around that you can repurpose, and all of the mics are old drum mics. Literally, that's all they are. They're there. They were just laying around from an old drum kit, and I just dug around and found them, and I use them for that, and they work fantastic, and it's such a help to have the band be able to communicate. Now we move on to the hub that kind of controls all the tracks. Now right here, I've just got a power cord. The black one is a T7 Shield from, I believe it's, yeah, Samsung. Listen to me, if you are running tracks are huge files. Do not put them on your computer. It will bog your computer down. You don't want that, okay? Get something like that. It's about $300, $400 maybe, but it has tons of space on it and it's lightning fast. Keep all your music files on that. Just do it. It's so much better. It's so much easier. It takes the strain off of your computer. You're not storing. These files are massive, you guys, and every time you edit and save a new one, it collects files. It builds up. It's huge. You don't want that, okay? So just keep it on an external hard drive. It'll keep your computer cleaner. You can organize it way better. Then right here, I have this hub, which is just supporting all of these things being plugged in. And then finally, I have my Ethernet connection, which you can see right there, which plugs into Dante. Now, if you're not familiar with Dante, Dante is a way to run sound over Ethernet connection, okay? So my computer is plugged into Ethernet, which is the internet, basically, here, the local network. It sends out everything from Ableton over this network back to the board. For reference, I'm here. The sound booth is all the way back there where the soundboard is, okay? This tiny little cable is sending all the music back to there. It's lightning fast. It just works. It's amazing. Dante is fantastic and we love it. We use it. But let me show you kind of how it works essentially. So you have inside Ableton, you have your audio inputs and outputs. So I just choose Dante as my output, and then it lets me program all the little things I want to send out. For example, what I said about the band guide, vocal guide, loop, stems, soprano, alto, tenor, BGVs, click, sub drop. Essentially, these are my main things that I'm sending out right here, these first 16. Dante allows you to name those and send those wherever you want. So for example, I can click on my MacBook, transmit. This is everything I want to transmit right here. Then I go to, we have the Behringer Wing, and I can click receive. And this is where it's receiving it on all those channels. I then just tell the Behringer Wing, put that channel on this fader, and we have sound. It just works. I love Dante. I have had issues with Dante in the past. You probably heard me complain. They were hardware issues, not software issues. So once I got my hardware fixed and the right adapters and plugins and everything, all those issues lined out, and Dante is fantastic. So the last thing I wanted to show you guys is the piano stand that this entire station sits inside of. This was custom built by actually my guitar player. I told him we had just the piano sitting on one of those little X piano stands, you know, and I was like, there's so many cords, there's so many cables, there's so many things that sit in here. I was like, it's so ugly. I was like, please, can you build me something that will hold all the storage that we need to hold, and it just will look so much better on the outside. So let me show you. So here's the basic shape. There's a top desk that runs across here where the piano sits, but on the back, it doesn't go all the way back. So all the cords can run down at the back. Right here, I just have a simple board sitting on actually a computer stand like this right here. And it lets me sit all that stuff on there. All of these cables are no longer seen. There are shelves. There's a shelf here, a shelf there, a shelf there, and then there's floor where all those cables are in and you do not see it. There's shelves on this side where we actually just keep waters. There's my protein shake from this morning, and then Jen stores extra tissue box refills right there because it's close and nice and easy. We have our camera for our live stream mounted right here for the band cam, and from the front, all you see is this. And all of that is hidden, and it is just so much nicer to have that hidden inside there. These panels are just panels that we bought off of Amazon. They're like actually ceiling tile panels. They have all sorts of shapes, designs, colors that you could possibly imagine. Obviously our stage is black, so we went with black, and we use the same panels on the drum pit surrounding the drum pit. It's just so much nicer, so much cleaner. We get so many compliments on it. People are like, how did you do that? Literally, it's built with boards. I don't know how much better to explain it than that, but it's just built with 1/2-inch plywood, I think, and painted black. And then we put a little decorative thing on the front. It has been fantastic. It is my favorite thing. It looks so nice, and we get tons of compliments on it when preachers come and they're like, oh, how did you build that? And it was really simple. I just kind of sketched something for this guy, and I was like, can you build this? And he built it, and it's been great. So that's my setup, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, something a little different. Let me know if you want more tours of areas around the church and kind of the setups that I have and how I run them and what I use in them. Let me know down below. We'll see you next time. You can see me. My current coffee obsession is brown sugar. Oh my God. I just like dumped half the thing in there. Let's fix that. I don't need all that brown sugar. It's a lot. Do not do that much. Hopefully this goes back into the bag pretty easy. That's better right there. Okay. So that's for the cuts. Let's redo that part. It just changes everything. Hold on, I'm getting a call. I don't think this is gonna be enough oat milk. And it's not. I'm gonna be so mad when I edit this because I'm just leaving it rolling and I'm gonna be like, Seth, why don't you ever cut anything? Why don't you just cut if you're doing something? Get over it, Seth. I know it probably sounds so silly, but joy brings so much. Okay. I didn't even know I had the sound in here. I totally forgot that I added this just recently.